Welcome to patriarchy.com, where we help you become a more virtuous leader for your family. Today, we're looking at how to sustain the spark in marriage. So these are going to be practical ways to maintain attraction. This is a big problem that a lot of couples struggle with. So stay here, add any comments in the section for me to get to later if you're interested in finding out how you can actually solve this. Now we're going to cover three things. We've got, first of all, how to use praise properly. There's a fine line to strike here between too much and too little, and also how to bond better, because having a really strong emotional connection is actually one of the best ways to build a stronger physical connection too as well. A lot of people neglect that and they really fixate on what's going wrong inside the bedroom. They don't realize the problem started outside the bedroom. We're also going to look at what it really means to cherish her from her perspective. Remember, men really want to feel respected in marriage and women really want to feel cherished. And you have to be speaking her language to actually communicate that to her. Remember, any questions at all you've got, just put them in the comment section and I'll get to them at the end. So first of all, with praising then, a lot of guys do this wrong because it's not really heartfelt. Now, the research on this shows that for praise to really be effective in increasing attraction and the feeling of being appreciated, it has to be specific and sincere. So many guys go through the motions of just saying something nice because that's what they think they're supposed to say. Nice outfit or whatever. But if it isn't actually heartfelt, and you haven't put any effort into noticing something that you truly do appreciate and want to praise her for, that's going to come across in all kinds of ways. Remember, only about 7% of emotional communication is to do with your words, and she can feel that. So yes, you want to say some nice words, but your tone, your volume, even the speed you say it out, the way you look at her, right? The glint in your eyes, that's where the bulk of the message gets across, because the praise is really supposed to be communicating emotion to her so she can feel that. So really notice something. Perhaps it's a particular detail about her outfit, maybe even a color combination and the way it suits her skin tone or her eyes. Maybe you've noticed something small that she's done with her hair or her makeup, or maybe she's bought herself a new bag or shoes. Notice the kinds of little things that she's put effort into and show some appreciation for those. That's going to mean a lot to her. So specific and sincere should be your rule when it comes to praise. Otherwise, she's going to know that it's just empty, hollow, and you're just trying to win brownie points, which is not what you want. That will have the opposite effect. Now, the other thing that a lot of guys neglect is not actually praising her for her personal achievements. So perhaps she's been really meaning to get a room in the house tidier. Or perhaps she's been meaning to get in the gym more often, or be better with her diet, or be a bit less active on social media, reduce screen time. Now, all those things involve her putting some effort into growing in virtue. And they're pretty tough for many women. They're tough for many men too. So if you notice that she's been working hard at something and had some success, obviously praising her in that is going to help her to really build momentum and feel that her efforts are noticed. Because don't forget, she's doing this stuff for you. So your words mean a lot to her. If you show that you value what she's doing, she's going to keep doing it. And you can give her this good image of herself to live up to. So say that you love what she has done in the kitchen with the way it's been tidied or cleaned, for example. Specific and sincere again, plus also related to personal achievements. Now, some guys think, I don't know what her personal achievements are. Well, that's a big problem. If you don't know her well enough to know what she's going to really value as a personal achievement, you need to have better conversations and be more attentive so you're actually aware of what it is she's working on. Now, consistency is also extremely important. You can't just do this as a one-off and expect to build the bond with her that you want. All these things, being specific, being sincere, knowing what she's aiming at personally, and praising her for achieving it. All these things you know as her husband, and you also care about because she's your wife. And that means you want to monitor them and help her progress in them. So noticing the little things rather than being focused on other stuff, making her feel like she's not a priority, is how you can actually build that trust. And the consistency, as in so many other areas of marriage, and also just your personal growth as a man, the consistency is key. Remember, we talked about this a few times. This is the case with building wealth, building your body in the gym, building virtue in general, because it is all habitual and built through repeated actions. Without consistency, you're not going to be building those actions, building those habits in the way that you want. And that means your character isn't going to be shaped in the direction you want it to be shaped in. And when your character is malformed in that way, it's obviously going to affect your marriage too. So those are the three ways in which praise really matters. Don't be afraid of giving praise. Some guys have this mistaken idea that it's not masculine to praise your wife. I don't know where they got that from. Women are seeking male attention and validation. Just like the Bible was saying, the woman is made for man, not the man for the woman. So it's healthy, it's normal for the woman to seek validation, seek affection and attention from the man. If you don't give it to her, then that's actually a form of abuse. That's unhealthy. You'll damage her self-esteem a lot. So we covered praising. Let's look a bit about bonding too. There are some things here that a lot of people get wrong. So again, specificity matters. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say you're going to have a nice experience together. Perhaps it's a date night. It should be something specific to you and her. So think about some places you've been or experiences you've had, memories that are a big part of your shared story, and put some thought into it. If you just go online and look up date ideas and you just get 10, 15 generic outings, but none of them really has anything to do with you and her specifically, your interests, your connection, your history, versus you might have a particular picnic spot that you went to years ago and shared a nice moment together. Perhaps you told her something important. Take her back there and say a bit about your story since then, where you want to go with her next in the years to come. So because that shows that you know what it means to her and what it means to you and you two together for your story, it's far more specific and therefore far more special. This isn't just an experience that any girl can have with any guy. This is something that is hers with you and it's exclusive. So that builds the bond far better. Now, the other thing you want to mix in is some very novel or memorable experiences too. And this is important because there's a link between novelty and feelings of excitement and dopamine. So if you can thrill her in that way, perhaps with a surprise or something maybe even a bit scary, but she feels safe because she's with you, then that can really help to inject a sense of fun into your time together as well. A lot of guys neglect this. Part of being the provider is also being the provider of fun, right? I'll say that again because it causes so many problems when men don't do it. Part of being the provider is also being the provider of fun. It's not just financial. In fact, men who fixate on the finances and neglect fun often end up weakening the emotional bond. And they might try to fix it by working on communication skills and being better at handling arguments. And that stuff is all great and it can make a bit of a difference. However, no amount of communication skills will make up for a weak emotional bond. The communication skills are a good tool, but the emotional bond between you, the emotional connection, that's the foundation. And that's why experiences like this that build your bond a time very well spent. Guys who don't want to spend the money on having these kind of experiences are thinking about them in the wrong way. Sure, it might sting to go out on a special date, but it's really an investment rather than a cost, because it will keep paying you back in terms of the memories for years, decades afterwards, because it helps to shape the story. Now, the other thing is that I think that there should be some really intimate and intense moments as well. So think carefully about what you want the job of each date or each experience to be. What do you want it to add to your story? Yes, there'll be some recalling of the old memories, helping to integrate them with whatever new experiences you have had. But perhaps you want to tell her something extra special for a particular date. Think about planning over the year when the key moments are going to be. And this doesn't have to be just birthdays, for example. It can be feast days. It can be holy days. Really think about what shape you want the arc of the year to have, and you can return to things. Novelty is good, but regularity and ritual is also really important too. So think of having some experiences almost as being like checkpoints, where you can just return to them and then see what ground has been covered since, and reinforce some of the things about your bond that you think matter most. So we've looked at praising, we've also looked at bonding, and if you're doing these things well, you're already going to be way ahead of most people who tend to just fall into bad habits and neglect so much of this, and it has a disastrous impact sooner or later. It's obvious why, right? When people are actually dating, these are some of the things they pay attention to, because fundamentally it's about getting someone to feel good around you. And when you forget that, because marriage makes you become kind of too routine and you become almost callous or desensitized, and you forget the fact that you are still supposed to put effort into the things that got you together so that you stay together, then we can see why that takes people in a bad direction. So if you're recognizing, oh, I haven't been doing most of this stuff, it's okay. Happens to a lot of people. You can start now using some of the tips that we've covered. So just these two things are already going to help a lot. But the third one, when you're thinking about ways in which you can make her feel cherished, if we just think about the importance of being specific and exclusive, for example, that we commented on before, then you can take that and think about this concept of making everything very personalized. So you should know her better than anybody else does. And that should come out in the kinds of gifts that you might get her. So it could be favorite flowers. It could be not just jewelry, but jewelry with a particular engraving on it. So show that you've gone the extra step beyond just what you could get in the shop, because often that's the thing she actually cares about most. Sure, it's nice to have some nice jewelry, but when it has an engraving that really opens her heart up with something that only you two know about, then that's even better. Now, the other thing is that, especially because a kind of routine fatigue can easily set in, if you're also adding in some spontaneity, I think that can bring some of the excitement, the dopamine as well, that we're looking to provide as the providers of fun. Now, minimal planning involved on her part. So let's say you know that you haven't taken her out for a nice dinner or drinks date for a while. Don't talk about it, just arrange what you need to for the babysitting, and then you can say, here's where we're going tonight at 8, wear this. And then doesn't have to think about it, right? So all that mental load, the anxiety is taken away from her. You've handled it, and she can just enjoy what is basically the fairy tale like fun experience of being lifted out of the day-to-day routine grind. Now, that kind of thing matters a lot, and it's a nice memory, and the more of those you have, the stronger the association between you and those good experiences will be. So we make things personalized and also introduce some spontaneity. Now, the third one here is obviously super important for making things personalized, and It's amazing how some people don't actually think about tailoring the experiences, tailoring the messages or the gifts to what her preferences are. So she shouldn't be a stranger to you. If you know that she's going to prefer one location to another, or a particular type of cuisine to another, then you should take that into account in your planning. When you don't make things match her preferences, then you're basically showing thoughtlessness, carelessness, and that is obviously incompatible with her feeling cherished or special to you. So you probably have a good idea of the sorts of things that she likes if you've been married for a while. Take some time, go back over your experiences, use your memory, think about some of the moments that were best received. What do they have in common? What can you double down on? So this is a part of prudence, right? Just the practical skill of how to go on a good date. Think about not just the breadth of your memories, so all the experiences you've had, but also really how to drill down into the depth of your memories too. Aquinas makes this point about prudence: breadth, also depth. Really focus on extracting what you can learn from each of them, and then think about how you can combine all that information to create a great experience afterwards. So we've covered, first of all, praising, bonding, and cherishing. And if you've liked this very research-backed, simple, but super effective approach to leading in marriage, then go and check out our community here at patriarchy.com/start. This is great if you want to meet like-minded men who are all growing in virtue to improve themselves as men and also build better marriages with more intimacy and more respect. You have Zoom calls with me. We've also got proven courses on all the areas you might like to improve as a man. And because you're in a group with 260, 270 men currently, it's a great opportunity to meet people, learn from them, and also push yourself further with some accountability. And whatever you're struggling with, 24/7, you can get support there. And it's amazing value at $9 a month. 99 guys out of 100 who try it love it. Our churn rate is only 1%. So I'm sure that if you want to try it out, you'll love it too. We're also covering in day 2 of this masterclass, inside that group, your specific challenges. So obviously right now, I'm just giving you some tips that are really heavily backed by research that you can apply. However, if you want to go beyond just theory and principles to practical step-by-step guidance, then that's obviously coaching. I need to know more about you. I need to know from you what your struggles are, what you've tried, why it's failed, and what you're striving towards. And then I can help you apply these tools alongside you so that together we can get the solution to the problems that you want to see. It's really hard for me to do that just over social media because I can't hear what you have to say. But on a coaching call, I can ask the questions and find out what I need to know so we can use the tools better. So that's for members of the Patriarchy community. If you're interested, go check it out. That's for day 2. Now, if you've got any questions on anything we've covered so far, just drop them into the comments section. So we've looked at praising, bonding, cherishing. I'm hoping everything was all super clear and straightforward. I like to keep these masterclass sessions very focused on basics that I know will get people results, and it shouldn't be complicated. A lot of this stuff is not complicated. It's hard, but it's very effective. It's like if you want to get into shape, well, one of the big tips would be to start to exercise. Simple, but hard to do, especially if you built up a habit of not exercising. So a lot of this should be straightforward to you. If there's anything else you'd like to know more about, make sure to join the Patriarchy community. I will see you on the inside. Remember, we've got courses, we've got accountability. You can get direct access to me as well. And in day 2, we're going to be exploring today's topics in more practical depth for you. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you soon inside the community. Take care. I'll catch you on the next masterclass.